Hey there, if this is our first time meeting, I'm Kenny here with Jeremy. And the question for today is what should we take with us 100 years into the future? And what I mean by that is anything, literally anything. It can be a thing, it can be a skill, an artifact that will greatly benefit us 100 years down in the future. Um, the reason for saying that is obviously we have lost a lot of technologies in the past, and like Atlantis, we lost the map to Atlantis, so it'd be nice to have something like that going forward.
That's what we want to do. We want to win like all our credibility at the beginning by mentioning Atlantis.
I mean, what could have been Atlantis? Like, you don't know. I mean, we could the land that we live in today now in 100 years might be, if you look at
Underwater.
Fallout or different, like the 100, anything,
Okay.
apocalyptic times. You don't know what's going to happen, and things get lost all the time, right? So
Yeah. So then what thing? Can we take an ideology?
of
I don't
course,
know what I would take. We just like anything at all, anything
communism.
we can preserve. I don't think that no, I think that's a great way to not get us that far. Can you, I don't think communism is going to go away. Ultimately, I don't think a lot of these things are really new ideas. They're just like built into human nature. They're a constant struggle between two poles. What thing? Let's start with physical things. If we're going to get more abstract, we should do that later. What physical thing would benefit you the most in just 100 years, right?
Well, a lot can happen in 100 years.
Yeah. So what kind
1900,
of? Yeah.
1900s, and
So are we expecting who's writing the future? Is it going to be like like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing where it would be handy if we just had like a lighter still, or is it going to be like a really optimistic one where like we reach utopia in 100 years, we're colonizing Mars?
oh, we might not be in Earth in 100 years, right? You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What would be
That's
useful
the
then?
topic. Yeah, that's something to talk about in itself. I guess it's better to come to an agreement or at least some sort of a standard. We will stay on Earth.
We're still on Earth.
We're still on Earth. Resources, because we are told that resources are scarce.
Mm-hmm.
So we will assume that, for example, we're trying not to pollute the world right now with different things and all these energy efficient stuff and battery powered cars. So we will say that our resources are limited. Um, we do have. I don't know if it'll ever go away, but I guess if there's an EMP, a lot of the electrical stuff would go out, right?
So
So
is
I
that what
guess
we're?
so no, like computer tech or anything that has to do with chips and electromagnetic things, because I mean it is a possibility, because like certain solar flares and stuff like that can really disrupt, you know like if one law of physics that deals with stuff like that goes, that does not stay constant, then we lose all of that one.
So we're not
So
really
we will
assuming
agree.
anything in particular. We're just kind of like, well, no matter what you do, it's a gamble, right? Because if I was like, well, if that was the case, maybe I'd take a really important book or something like that, right? But then if I get there and I find out that the internet's still around and like all these databases, they're gonna be like, yeah, we have like every version of that book
If
on.
if you want, we can take the internet with us. That could be the thing that we take. But the thing is, we would have to start from scratch, because things prior to the, like when
What
EMP
good is
hit,
the internet if
right?
nobody's on it?
Yeah,
We
well,
have the internet,
it's the technology that will, I guess, restart stuff. I mean,
or
that's the conversation, right? What can you take? And I
uh,
guess you can take internet, but that would, I guess you wouldn't think it's a good idea, because there would be nothing in it, because
yeah.
all the servers would be attacked, all the computers, would lose all their data. So
Yeah, unless we get something kind of magical going on where it's like you take the internet of 2021 with you, so you maintain that connection somehow
you
100 years in
okay,
the
so
past.
people don't, like, if people do not understand how technology works if they say that, oh, you can take that, and like assuming
Right,
that things will stay, because we know things fail, hard drives fail, MMCs fail, all the SSD, the technology we have that's supposed to be better than the spinning hard drive, they're notorious for losing data, because when you start keep on writing over and over and over again, the cells, like, they don't move, and they lose
right.
everything. They become unusable. Even the tech, even Tesla cars, right, are like the highest tech things that we can kind of buy. So, um, they're having flash. They're using eMMCs and flash drives and stuff. Like it's having issues. Right? Same thing with you data loss on your phones and.
Hmm. Yeah. So then, what are we painting like a general distrust of technology then, where it would be better to have something that's not dependent on electricity for execution for application, whatever it is you want to do?
I don't know.
Can I take
Like
another person?
I'm dependent on technology as a person, but if that were to
Uh-huh.
go away, like for example, like the tools that I have in the house, they all use batteries. Okay, even like my lawnmower, I use a battery. It's not like gas powered. I hate gas. Like I don't like
Uh-huh.
maintaining small engines. I don't know what I hate like cleaning out carburetor. I will not do any of that. I buy electric stuff just because it's you know in a lawnmower like 100 things can go wrong. You need to troubleshoot it with like an electric lawnmower. It's either the battery or some like or the motor or something. Like it's different.
Yeah.
It just works, right? And if it doesn't, then you just get another one. Or it's like you can't like I don't know. There's less moving parts too, right? So
Mm. Yeah, it's a lot simpler in that regard. But well, is that your choice? Are you taking your lawnmower, your electric lawnmower?
to 100 years in the future, maybe
Yeah.
you might have weeds that we need to. I might take a weed
Yeah.
whacker instead.
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
um,
at least you can use a weed whacker as a weapon,
oh,
kind
that's
of.
true. It's kind of yeah. I've seen people put chain like I've seen people put like what do you call it? Like they modified with
To
I
make it
forgot
like
it's like
with
a
a
four or
metal
five inch
wire or something.
angle grinder,
Uh-huh.
and then they would like attach things to an angle grinder to make like
Oh
weed
yeah, put on
whackers.
like saw blades and stuff like that. Oh, to make
Yeah,
weed whackers?
yeah, no. So they would install like saw blades on like an angle grinder to make like weed whackers that have saw blades. Or
Okay.
sometimes they even use zip ties, but I've seen people do like you said, like actually add saw blades and make them into like a heavy duty cutting
Yeah.
like jungle or something.
This is going to be one of those things though where like we end up jerry-rigging this kind of weird contraption when there's already a million other tools that are way better at doing what we're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
And our condition is we can take literally anything into the future. So it's going to
So we're
turn into
talking
this
about lawnmowers, yeah.
weed whacker with a circular saw blade on it. And that's our decision because it makes for a mediocre weapon. But do we need a weapon? That's the thing is we go into the future, we just don't know what we're prepping for.
Since let's build this
Scenario needs detail.
scenario exactly. It needs details. So since resources are scarce, I believe there will be a lot of conflict over set resources. For example, I don't know if you watch like zombie stuff like with The Walking Dead or whatever.
Yes, I've
it's
read a little bit of it actually.
yeah. So yeah, graphic novelist, I see.
Enjoyed those.
um I think 300 is also a graphic novel too, right? I haven't read it,
Yes,
but
me
I
neither.
think it's based off like anyway. So we know people fight for resources because because I think like power generators went out or something, or like there's no
Mm-hmm.
power, right? And then I think that scenario where you're fighting for survival using the limited resources that you have. Um,
And we're thinking like
it
if we
would
were
be
in
a
that
zombie
place,
apocalypse. Yeah.
yeah, and we were like, if only we had this one thing. What
What would be useful in that scenario? Yeah.
are we fighting zombies? Because I'll be
No.
honest, I don't find zombies
We
particularly
can, we
compelling.
can, but that would like that'd be fun, but that'd be for another show. I think that would be cool talking about that.
We
But
just want to say
let's
that
keep it
they
just the environment is very similar to The Walking Dead, except there's no zombies. There's limited, like nothing's running. There's no electricity. Sure, there might be
post
like petrol.
EMP. I think that's the
Post EMP, yeah.
post EMP.
Wow.
Well, this has gotten a lot more clear. Now I do feel like I have to think more deeply about this. What would that be? Well, the interesting thing is they're still probably going to have basically everything that we have now. It's just
I would like to disagree because I think the way the world is going, all the like tradespeople, they're
well, that's right.
becoming
We can
what do you
take a
call it more
skill.
Right. So all these like traditionally based, like mechanics and stuff, they're all going away. Like there's less
Mhm.
and less mechanics coming, especially with the newer cars. The newer the like the mechanics of today will not be able to fix the cars that are keep on coming out due
Mhm.
to a lot of legal stuff. People don't like, for example, they won't let like your car would not be able to be fixed by a mechanic. I think this is actually quite recent
Yeah.
in the States. They had like a bill passed in like Massachusetts or something about like right to repair on cars or cars, I believe, where they have like a OBS scan tool that the mechanics use. Like they're
Mhm.
not like if they're not like dealer level, they can't find out what's wrong, and there's a whole bunch of mess
Yeah.
going on. But my point is, it's getting harder to repair your phones, your cars, and all these different things. And the companies that produce them are the only ones that are able to, troubleshoot them. And when they get into a position of, they're the only ones that can do it, they don't even
Mhm.
like fix it. They just tell you to buy another one, right? So I
Right.
think that's kind of their main goal. It's kind of like what Apple does, right?
Yeah, so
Anyway,
now what we're thinking in terms of is like the skill, like a mechanical skill, I think would be best.
yeah,
The first thing I thought of.
that would go away. That would go away. People will not be able to like the traditional mechanic that we have. They're not going to be there in the
Won't be
future.
there, right? And so that might be worth taking that kind of. That's right, because we can take abstractions like that, like a skill, a mechanical aptitude or knowledge. Because that's the nice thing about that is it's kind of timeless, right? If like computer science is dependent on the systems that we've developed, but mechanical understanding is very much a like if you can make a gear and you know how gears work, that's not restricted to like the technology available per se. I mean, it helps to have power tools to make that kind of thing, but ultimately, if you know how machines work, I think that might be the most valuable thing. That might be a winner. The first thing I was thinking was architecture, but not like a grandiose cathedral building architecture, just enough to build like a house
Oh, for like
or
immediate
something.
survival.
Yeah. Well, more than a long term, because that the immediate survival, I think people can generally figure out. But if you wanted to be able to build and make something that was more than just like a temporary shelter, you maybe the architecture will. But if this is only 100 years, I can't imagine that like all of the buildings have like deteriorated. Right? We should still actually have that. Maybe the mechanical
Oh,
knowledge will actually be the most
that
important.
is true. Yeah.
Mhm.
But now you're assuming that you have to be in the city, right? Because
Well, you can get
remember,
to
people
one.
are fighting for resources, so that means they're going to escape the city because like city is just a concrete jungle. There won't
Hmm.
be anything left over after a little bit, so you would need to forage, and that means you have to be out in the countryside, right? Unless you develop farming and other like aqueducts, or I don't know.
Hmm.
There's different
Yeah.
things that you can do to sustain, but like cities would be like you can't stay in it unless you have like modern technology to run everything and logistics to bring stuff in, right?
Right. And in light of that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably easier to go from a mechanical aptitude to an architectural aptitude than the other way around, because the
Mm.
mechanics is very low level stuff. Not that it's difficult or lesser, but that it's very much a starting point where architecture would spring off that from that kind of thing. This is how gravity affects larger structures. This is how different shapes
But for
work.
like, I don't know if you need architecture because, like, I mean, people can make teepees, right? Maybe.
Well, how long do we want to be
Is
alive
there?
for? Because we're going 100 years in the future. Is this just a day trip, or are we trying to like, all right, well, I got to live here now? And
Hmm.
I would figure it'd be nice to there's all those like YouTube channels that the like primitive technology that'll show you like, oh, this is how you build a temporary structure. This is like a brick a
Hmm.
mud brick house, and those are always
But
really
those
impressive.
so maybe like something like Roman concrete might be something that it's like you won't know how to make because you need to know how you have to make certain
That's
stuff
true.
like for like bricks and stuff. But like to put a basic shelter by cutting some wood and putting it, even though if it's not like stable, I'm pretty sure a lot of people
Hmm.
can do that without having like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure like most people that have what do you call it, a left side brain, like the more problem solving engineering
Hmm.
type of brain, you can figure stuff like that out pretty quick.
How about a chemist? Who do you think
Oh,
would do better, the chemist or the mechanic? Not like a
oh,
car mechanic, but like a general mechanical dude.
a chemist. I don't know. Maybe
Chemists are
chemist
like
knows
black
stuff. Yeah.
magic. Yeah.
They might know stuff like, oh, you can't have this water or something because it's like taints. Like they would know
Yeah.
different types of it. They would have a different type of skill set.
Mm.
Maybe they might be useful if you're not like doing like a survival thing for a person, but if there was like a community, someone with knowledge of chemistry and maybe like medicine or something might be beneficial. Like maybe not like if they were surviving on their own, they might not be as beneficial as the mechanic or whatever people with hand skills.
Yeah.
But that person is definitely worth weight, like their whole weight in gold, I guess.
Yeah, I think that guy would pay
Because
off.
they would have they have different skills, but
What about like a diplomat? Like, because we're thinking
Oh,
of very
no.
like physical thing. Well, no, hang on. So here's the thing: is like we're assuming that not everybody is dead, right? Otherwise, the cities would probably be fine to inhabit because you don't have to worry about them coming and hunting you down. You just live off the whatever's left in the city. But if there are other people around, you want somebody that's going to be able to get in there and then like, either
Organize
manipulate their
people.
way in or just like make their way to the top. If you could have just diplomacy skills or there's something like a charisma or whatever
That
it
can
is.
work. Leaders in every era,
Mhm.
they find a way to amass people and their stuff. So that's a good I guess character or good something that you can leverage even in today's society, like any society.
Mhm.
Interpersonal skills are obviously something good if you're in a community. Okay, so wait, now we have to build up this world a little more stricter because we're too general right now. Um, let's just do it like you and maybe a couple other people around that you don't know. So we're teleported into the future. We are not part of a community. So then would that make it a lot
There's
harder?
nothing else there except for those
There might
other
be
people.
communities, but like they're not for you. You're by yourself.
Yeah, I think well, is there going to be a language barrier? That's the biggest question. But assuming there's not,
Well,
I think it might
yeah.
be worth because like humans thrive in communities, right? So the best thing is actually going to be to harness that force of teamwork. That's what sets them apart from the other animals. Otherwise, you kind of have to like just make your own life, and pretty soon in there, you're gonna end up in despair because you're like, well, I'm alive, but I don't know why, and I have no reason to be. The human mind will blow itself up before nature gets to it.
I don't know. Tom Hanks he made it alive in Castaway.
I don't think many people would say that he was happy in
No,
the
he had a friend,
process. Yeah,
though he was
that's
kind of bloody.
yeah. Is that symbolic for something? I feel like I should
It
have
was.
thought
Didn't
about
he
that
like put
before.
his hand on it and it was like, and then he drew a face on a volleyball
Yeah, he's
with
like,
his
oh, this is
blood.
a face I know or I've seen before or
But the
something like
face
that.
is from hand, like it's like a
Yeah.
handprint, and then there's like eyes or something. I don't know.
That's I wonder what that weighs in on our
Oh, we
situation
should have
here.
done what? Okay, next time. What
What?
if you were in Castaway?
Dude, I'm literally reading the Lord of the Flies right now, and I was gonna say
Oh,
like,
oh man, the kids
there's
are
lots.
brutal.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
I
that's
forgot
I guess
like
that's on the
the
docket.
details, but I remember like it's pretty gory.
I'm going through it with
Oh
a
wow.
12-year-old girl, so fun stuff. But anyway, with that
I hope
said,
they
that's
understand.
yeah. Well, she'll get it. She's sharp. I have confidence in her. That is all the time we have for today, folks. We'll see you next Monday. And until then, have a good night. We'll see you later.